Hi, my name's Eric. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about Tinashe. Today I'm going to be reacting to and analyzing her second mixtape, Reverie. If you watched my reaction to Tinashe's first mixtape, In Case We Die, which I will link up here, you'd know that I am a big Tinashe fan, but I hadn't listened to her early work before, but I was really impressed by that mixtape, so I'm really looking forward to hear what Reverie sounds like and how that picks up where she left off with In Case We Die. As always, I take requests, so let me know in the comments down below what albums you'd like to see me react to, or if there are any other topics you'd like to see me cover on my channel. And if you'd like to be here when my subsequent Tinashe reactions come out, please subscribe, and I will get right into it with song number 1, Fear Not.
When there is systemic contradiction.
It's projecting, self-justifying, excusing, accusing, denying. Well, I don't have a problem. There's nothing wrong with me. So it's not me.
Okay, so right away we have personal and political, and you know I always like to talk about the initial lines of an album or a mixtape, and here it connects back, I think, to In Case We Die, because on that album she was using the apocalypse, or just broadly death, as a metaphor for the end of a relationship. So I'm imagining on Reverie she's going to be talking about, again, how broader social norms or just, interactions with the world around her impact her personal life. But that's very general. Let's let her continue. So before she mentioned chains around her feet, which again is a perfect way to tie back to In Case We Die, because the last song on that mixtape was called Chainless. So again, she's breaking from chains. Exactly what those chains are, I don't know yet for sure, but they can be any number of socially imposed restrictions on people. She talks about being confident in herself as a form of resistance, but again, we're still in pretty general territory, and we'll see how this develops over the course of the mixtape. Track number 2 is Stargazing. Again, very ethereal. Oh, okay, maybe we're actually in the same story that we were on the first mixtape, because she's talking about living in a dream or a fantasy. Obviously, the title of the mixtape refers to dreams as well. Before, on In Case We Die, her dreams were sort of an escape from a bad relationship. So whereas dreams filled in the gaps where the prior relationship failed to bring her fulfillment and happiness, here she is using that same idea to build a new relationship that is good for her. Hopefully, at least. Okay, so we're back with drugs. This is very similar to Carly Rae Jepsen's No Drug Like Me. While she is still in a position of wanting to serve the person she's in love with, the reversal that's happening is specifically with the idea of drugs, because on the last mixtape, her love interest was the person who supplied her with the drugs and who she said got her high. Here she's saying, I'm going to get you high. So whereas the last person had power over her, and that was indicated through providing the drugs or the means of getting high, here she has that power. Okay, there seems to be another reversal happening here compared to In Case We Die, because she says right now she's alone on a warm summer night looking out at the sky. This is her sort of moment of loneliness, of wishing. But on the last mixtape, when she was alone, she was cold. So here, she at least has some satisfaction, right? The same way that she has the power to get someone high, now she has the power to keep herself warm, but she's still in a dream state, right? So instead of there being a desperation for another person, it's more fulfilling a fantasy, more an ideal, or a secondary goal than something that she actively needs sort of as sustenance. Track number 3 is called Yours. This is very nocturnal and somewhat more club-oriented, like a lot of Tinashe's music. Okay, so even on like a sort of more sensual song where she is coming onto another person, she is also focusing on the idea of a fantasy or of imagination. Ooh, vocals. Wow. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. And her falsetto is perfect for this song too. Ooh, beat change, okay. Okay, so this might be her most unconventionally structured song, other than I think, I forget what song it was on In Case We Die, but one of the tracks was just one verse repeated. But here we have an entire outro that has its own separate hook from the bulk of the song, which was just awesome. There isn't exactly a narrative shift between the two sections, it's mostly just an expansion on the intensity of the attraction. She talks about fire, which is, pretty universally about passion. This song was more straightforwardly a love song. It didn't really tap in as much to the idea of imagination aside from the beginning, but I think that also works because it's more like the transition from the imagining of the act to the enactment of it. Song number 4 is called Slow. So I feel like as she's moving more into the physical world, there's more percussion going on. Okay. Okay, so she said, my heart beats slowly now that you're here. So we think of a quickened heartbeat as excitement or as fear. So if the heart beats slower, then she's not afraid. She's more comfortable. She feels fulfilled and safe with this person. Okay, so then she just said, I'm going to let my hair down, which confirms the interpretation of her being comfortable, because letting your hair down as an expression means like just being open, being free, being unencumbered. Oh, this kind of reminds me of You Don't Want It from Joyride. Okay, so she's saying she doesn't need quite as much, of a dynamic, like passionate situation as much as she'd prefer just the comfort and calm of being with someone that she loves. And that makes sense also in comparison to the relationship on In Case We Die, because there it was all about escaping, driving, moving quickly, doing things, wanting to distract from the everyday. And here she's pulling back from that and just wants to like lie down, be calm, like chill out. And that's how she sees love now that she has experienced the alternative. Track number 5 is Another Me. Okay, so from that, I'm guessing that there was cheating or that this person left for another woman, i.e., another me. But specifically, the intro vocals say, did she make your heart beat faster than I did? Which, again, on the last song, Tinashe enjoyed a slow heartbeat, right? And so the implication is that this other person wanted it fast, so that was sort of the push and pull that was happening in the last song. And now that she asserted her desire for the relationship to go a certain way, he has left for someone who saw love or saw intimacy the same way that he did, with him wanting things fast and Tinashe wanting things slow. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so whereas I said before, Another Me was the person that he cheated with, turns out she's saying, like, even if you do find someone else, it's not going to be another me. You can't find someone as good as me. Which is good because on In Case We Die, the bulk of the struggle of the mixtape was her deciding whether or not she should stick with this person. Is this another breakdown? Okay. Oh, now she's angry. Ooh, I like that. Okay, that was a lot more noise. This is sort of back to the level of texture we had on In Case We Die. But again, she's at a moment of breakup, so that makes sense, right? Her anger comes out in the texture of the music. Track number 6 is Come When I Call. Wow. Ooh, things are swelling and there's intensity. Oh, this is gonna be so good. Okay, so she's bringing back the idea of forever, just like on the last mixtape, where post-breakup is forever, it's an eternity, it's a lifetime regretting what, however you've wronged her. Here, she's using forever again to mean the same thing. She is not getting back together with him, is she? Okay, I think I heard love and a drug addiction. She's saying that the drug addiction is mixing with her, tumultuous love life and worsening things for her. It brings to mind for me the idea of drug mixing, where the effects of one drug can exacerbate the effects of another when they are taken together. Okay, she talked about society slipping into the hands of the rich. That's, I think, the first instance of this very clearly tying back to those opening lines about the ways that society interacts with personal troubles. But I wonder why it's appearing now. Maybe it's that the same way that she's experiencing a moment of lucidity with relation to her dependency on drugs, she is also experiencing a moment of clarity with regard to her relationship to society. Maybe she will expand on that more, but as of now, I don't see the connection quite so clearly. Track number 7 is an interlude called Illusions. Okay, so she said nothing is what it seems, and then we have this other voice coming in and criticizing the idea of people feeling unworthy. So earlier, I think it was on the first track, she talked about how society imposes certain standards and she's going to resist that through self-worth. So again, here we have that same idea, where the social standard that is imposed is a lack of self-worth. Song number 8 is the title track, Reverie. Okay, so we're back to texture. So maybe we're more in reality now, less in her dream. Okay, so again, there's some sort of top-down influence that is affecting how people see themselves, but the specific mechanisms by which these influences affect how we think and how that affects our personal lives isn't exactly clear yet. Okay. She said, feed me diamonds. Before she said that they are feeding us lies, maybe she sees wealth as an access to information and to power, and then the new horizons are like that sort of manifest destiny idea of embracing total power, which again isn't exactly romantic, but I'm curious to see how she uses this newfound knowledge and if she finds the answers she's looking for. Song number 9 is called I'm Selfish. Okay, so narratively, this seems to be a big turning point from where we've been since the beginning of the first mixtape, specifically because she's blaming herself not only for the mistakes that she's made that have harmed her, but also for the idea that engaging in the relationships at all and seeking physical and emotional pleasure has harmed other people. So it's interesting that a moment of emotional clarity like this would happen in a song that is supposed to feel more dreamlike and more like a state of inebriation. So again, we're moving from more percussive textured sounds to again more dreamlike ambient sounds. So there's that same shift from the physical realm to the dream realm. So I think we're crossing back into a place where she doesn't exactly have that same sort of social awareness that spurred her realizations on the title track. Song number 10 is Ecstasy. Okay, so again, we're back to this place of like dependency or a drug like dependency where she says, I'm going to submit myself to you for physical pleasure. So the relationship with drugs is like she was talking about earlier, having an addiction. So again, we're sort of back to that place where she's actually vulnerable. Okay, so this is again another confirmation of her like doing anything for her partner, where here the thing that she's doing is waiting. So maybe assuming that the other person is waiting for her too, we have more of an equality in the relationship. So this is a better alternative to the relationships we've had in the past on these mixtapes. The final song on Reverie is Who Am I Working For? And I'm counting this as the final song even though there is a remix because it is a remix of a song from In Case We Die, so it isn't really canonically part of the story of Reverie. So for my purposes, this is the end of the story of Reverie. Okay, so this is actually probably the realist version of what's actually going on in her life that we've gotten in relation to the message about wealth and about society. Here she's saying, I've got to go get another job because I don't have enough money. So it makes sense, again, that she has been so preoccupied with wealth all along. She said, like, feed me with diamonds. Like, I am so desperate for more money that, it's like sustenance to me, which, on a practical level in real life, it basically is. Oh. Okay, so she just said the devil is at the door, this sort of great evil of basically taxation, but I don't really think it's literal taxation. It's more just about people in power taking from those in need. So this is the literalization basically of this top-down influence that has been hyped up over the course of the mixtape. Oh, okay, wow. Okay, so she said more people are enslaved than believe they're free, or, falsely believe they're free. Specifically, though, the idea of enslavement ties back not only to the chains on In Case We Die, but the chains at the beginning of the album. She talked about chains around the ankles, so it's not so much enslavement in the way that we envision it, but in a different way, like economic enslavement. So while this seems separate from the context of love that's been going on a lot on this mixtape and the last, it feels more, like I mentioned, about the efforts that you can put forward and still not be rewarded and people still want more, and how that works both on a personal level, like in a romantic relationship when one party is putting forth all the effort and the other is just a taker, or in this broader government institution where the workers put forth their effort and then the people in power or the wealthy or whoever she's talking about here are the same sort of takers. And she talked about falsely believing that you're free, and maybe that is the reverie, the fantasy that she's been talking about the whole time on this mixtape. So that's my reaction to and analysis of Reverie. If you would like to be here when I talk about Tinashe's future projects, please subscribe. If you'd like me to react to any other albums, mixtapes, or anything else, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time, that's it.